So when you make your grocery list, when you set the time to shop, and when you plan will help you prepare for your week. So a lot of times people think, I'll just eat better this week. And they walk through the grocery store thinking, I'm going to pick healthier food. But it's more than that. It's knowing what your menu is going to be that week. You have to know, I'm going to make, you're going to make, I think I've seen a lot of burger bowls. So let's talk about that, right? If you know you're going to make a burger bowl for dinner, you got to make sure you go and pick your lean meat, get your tomato, your lettuce, all those things that you want in your bowl. So knowing your menu is going to be key. And you guys have to set time aside to think about it, right? Especially if in your household, because in all of our households, we're not just cooking for ourselves. We have family, kids, extended family. And so we have to be able to support those as well. So really thinking about what can I do and how many meals can I prep at one time? Because sometimes we're cooking, 2 to 3 meals sometimes, depending on how picky our eaters are at home. And then we're part of that picky crew because we have to decide to pick lean meats and food off our list so that we can stay consistent. Oh, one more person. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right. So preparation is setting the stage for success and not winging it and just hoping for the best. If you don't carve out the time, life is going to fill it in with chaos. So whether it's your kids, work, or other stressors in your life that just kind of naturally, they're going to fill in the space if you don't carve out the space to know what you're going to eat for the week, know when you're going to buy it, and have that intention at the beginning. All right. And when do you think we are most vulnerable when it comes to our nutrition? When you're starving, yeah. When you're hungry and when we're not prepared, when we don't have those foods ready and available so that we can go and use them. I know, for example, this last week, I bought chicken, put it in the freezer on accident, putting things away, and then I had frozen chicken. And so now to cook it, the thawing time, right, delayed my ability to even make dinner. I was like, it's faster to run and grab something because the chicken, and it was all stuck together and everything. It was so bad. But thinking about those things, being prepared is going to be really helpful to keeping you consistent. And consistent does what? What do we think consistency does with our nutrition? What? Okay, what? Yes, it helps us achieve our goals. 80% of our goals, the ability to get there is going to be 80%. The other 20% is our fitness, our mobility, and that movement. But 80% comes from the food, the nutrition, and essentially that preparation within our diet. All right. So we are most vulnerable when we are unprepared. That's the official right answer. Lunch becomes Chick-fil-A because you don't have lunch with you or you left it at home. Dinner becomes DoorDash and I'll just eat what they're having becomes the default. All right. What's another way that we can prepare ourselves for the week, especially if we don't have the ability to work from home and we have to be out and about? What would help us be ready for our nutrition? Let's see. Meal prepping, yes, absolutely. Let's see. Meal prep isn't just it isn't always a 3-hour event. We can actually really streamline it, especially if we do things like chopping our veggies ahead of time. So the same day that you get your groceries, your bell peppers, your onions, those things that you use frequently with your meats, your rice, get those prepped and ready, put those in Tupperware containers, and then you store them in the fridge. As you go through the week, you can now just go and take a couple scoops out. Makes things so much faster. So it's not just having those pre-ready meals, but it's also prepping your veggies, knowing what your carbs are ahead of time so that your rice cooker can make your rice in 10 minutes. Whereas if you're making rice without it, it's going to take longer. So again, thinking through your meals, this is going to be really important. And then even having a backup meal in the freezer, because sometimes we're prepped and we're ready. Like I said, I knew I was going to have chicken this week and I put it in the freezer and it's all jumbled up. And I have to rethink of what to do. And so my usual go-to is tuna packets. I have them in the pantry. If there's ever an issue, I can grab that, put it in a wrap, put it in a salad. And that's like my go-to backup when I need to get food in quickly. But you guys could do any other kind of meats that you feel like works best for you. Let's see. But the power in the decision and meal prepping is declaring your intention and following it through with purpose. So that goes back to knowing what we're going to eat for dinner, having that intention, like deciding, making that happen, going to the grocery store, buying those ingredients, and then being able to follow through for the rest of the week that you're going to eat the burger bowl because you bought all the stuff already, right? Okay, let's see. So a great way to think about it is you wouldn't just show up to a job interview without planning your outfit, having your resume ready, and getting there early so you can park and then get lost for a little bit before you find where you're supposed to go. So we need to approach our nutrition the same way. The more times that we wing our food, the more times our results are going to kind of wax and wane along with the winging. Let's see. All right, what does preparation look like when you travel, right? For some people, it's like, there's nothing. I'm just eating, you're trying to make the best choices on the fly, but there really is really great solutions that you can do while you're traveling. One of the best things that one of my favorites, I know one of Tyler's favorites, is we'll pack our protein with us. So I'm adding that protein in the coffee while I'm in the airport. I have it with me since it's not a liquid, and then I can add it into a water bottle and have another scoop for my lunch, or it's like a snack before I go somewhere for a lunch. Let's see. So in fact, that's when it matters the most. And when you get to the level to where you're thinking about your food while you're on travel, that's actually like a top tier habit that you're starting to polish. And all of these things that we do throughout your journey here is all habit building, habit stacking. And so we practice being able to think about our food, put that in motion, and then think about, okay, well, if I'm going to travel, then what does that look like? What does my food look like in that motion? So bringing your supplements like protein powder is going to be helpful. Greens, hydration, control what you can. There's going to be things out of your control, but whatever is within your control, that's where you can do the most good for yourself, for your health, for your goals. Let's see, travel with snacks. So turkey sticks, almonds, let's see, protein bars that have a good ratio of protein, carb, and fat are going to be really helpful so that you stick to closer to what you should be eating compared to eating what's available. And then looking at menus before you go out and picking a meal with balance and asking questions when you get to that place about how they can make your food adjusted a little more towards what you're looking for. So what does that look like? If we are out at a restaurant, I know a lot of you got our guide initially at the beginning, but that's always a really great one to go back to so that you can refresh your mind on those little tips and tricks that you can do while you're out and about. But a lot of the classics, grilled foods are going to be easier lower on the fat scale. And then salads, going to fill you up with those veggies. Our areas of caution when it comes to salads is those dressings, right? So that's something to consider. Can you get the dressing on the side? Can you do vinegar? Can you do lemon wedges? Those little substitutions can really make a big difference between anywhere from 100 to 300 calories because you took that out. So definitely something to think about. So preparedness means that you don't let a different environment control your decisions. You still want to be able to put yourself first, put your body's goals and needs first, because at the end of the day, you're doing this not just for the number on the scale. You're doing this so that you feel better, you move better, you have more confidence, and that you're around, right, for your family. So all those things, we still got to think of food in the way that it's going to best support us and not hurt us. And then that just gets us further away from our goals. All right, so intention and execution. These two things equal true preparedness. Preparedness is not just what you think about, it's the thinking plus the action. So reviewing your meals ahead of time. Again, if you have those picky eaters, kind of talking to your family about, hey, what do you guys kind of feel you want to eat? The more prepared you can be, the better. And then at some point, not now, we're not tracking our food, but that's always beneficial when we're in a space to where we have lots of flexibility. Especially if you're on travel, if you can continue to track your food, that's still going to give you an idea of where and how far off you can go one way or another. But a lot of times it all kind of goes back to balance, trying to find balance in our meals. And I know I've talked to a couple of you about when we're in a situation to where we couldn't control how it was cooked or what is being served in the moment. The best thing you can do is do 25% of your plate to be protein, because the likeliness that place, the protein isn't as lean as we would like it to be. So if you eat more of it, there's more fat in that, increased calories. So we want 25% of your plate to be protein. The other 25% would be carbs. And then 50%, we're looking at vegetables. That's going to keep you within a range to where you're balancing out food that you couldn't control with your best case scenario. All right. And this is something that we did practice at one point, which was the hand palm fist measurements, right, guys? At that point, we were kind of estimating. We've definitely all kind of graduated from that. We've learned, and in order for us to get where we want to be, that's like one of the smallest things we can do is do portion control with our hands. But the best bet is we have to graduate, move through that, and start being more prepared, more intentional, and more exact. Because the more you know exactly how much protein you're eating with each meal, the closer you get to hitting your protein goals so that you can keep a higher protein content, so you keep your metabolism up, you keep your immune system up, and you keep the building blocks available in your body so that you keep growing a strong body while you're breaking it down and working out here. All right. All right, we're getting into, oh, we're halfway there. Very nice. Let me make sure my online people are okay. Everyone looks good. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, we're moving into part 5. Every time you deviate, you can trace it back to a weak preparedness. So it's that baby shower that you decided to eat there instead of eating your food before, or taking your food with you, or doing the portion control where you do 25, 25, 50, right? So those are things, and anytime, those are the times that you can kind of tell that there wasn't the consistency that we were looking for, which is going to tie back in to our preparedness and the results that we're trying to get. So again, I don't want you guys to think that this has to do with your discipline. It all goes back to being prepared and setting our intention. And that does mean that you have to set time at the beginning of the week, whatever day that is for you, to think about what you're eating, when you're buying it, when you're prepping, how you're cooking it. All those things matter. And the more that you can do proactively, the more, actually, the smoother your week goes. So let that be empowering. Know that you have the ability to control your results with the foods that you're eating throughout the week. So put your strength in your preparation. Stop being reactive, stop spiraling, and start leading by the choices that you make by chasing them and being prepared. All right, consistency isn't built in the kitchen, it's built in the calendar and in minutes. So this goes back to setting that time aside to think about what you're going to eat. And if you're, another thing to think about, if you're constantly somebody who runs from fire to fire, and naturally, I don't like to always blame my kids, but I feel like they're part of the reason why there's fires going on, right? I'm like ready to go, and then these 2 other people in my life are like doing all these other things. So definitely thinking about, what does that mean? Does that mean that maybe I wake up a little bit earlier before they need me and start pulling me left and right so that I know what I'm getting for my food, for their food, for the week? Those are things we need to start thinking about, because if we don't, we are going to stay in the same cycle. And that is the cycle that the majority of people get stuck in. And then they're like, oh, I can't lose weight. I'm plateauing. I don't understand. And it's like, think back to, how prepared were you that week? What did you get done? Like, were you able to get to the grocery store? Did you do your meal prep? Those things will, if they were no's, they likely contributed to options that didn't help you. And that's where those things kind of go hand in hand. And that can help us. At the end of the day, when we know where we're weak, that's the best thing to figure out. It's always really, really good to be like, oh, wow, I didn't go to the grocery store all week, or maybe I sent my husband and he picked the opposite of what I was looking for, right? Looking for those little weak points is perfect, because then we can fix those areas. If we never know where our weak points are, we'll never fix it, and we'll still stay in the same space that we're in. All right, so things to ask and consider. When you're feeling like, why am I not making progress? What's going on? You can ask yourself, did I plan when I was eating this week? Did I actually go to the grocery store? Did I prep the food I bought? Right? That's happened with me and broccoli. I don't know. I always think I'm going to eat it, and then I don't. Now it's no. And then, do I have travel plans? Right? What am I doing this week? Is this week going to be crazy? What do the next 2 weeks look like? Do you have lots of travel? Did you buy the food or the protein or the snacks that you need so that you can take those with you? Those are things that we have to set intention on. And it doesn't take perfect prep. It just takes intentional prep. Because our bodies are these beautiful machines that do try really hard to overcorrect. And as long as we can do our best and be intentional with what we want to eat, picking high protein options, low fat options, we're going to put our body in a space to where we continue within the realm that we're working in. All right. And then I'm going to close with this. We'll close with this, and we'll have our pop quiz at the end, which we already would have gone through the majority of the answers. But your plan isn't there to restrict you. It's there to protect the version of you that you're trying to become. So preparation is your shield, your backup, your proof that you take your goals seriously. And that goes along with your supplements. Don't forget to take them. And that's along with when you're doing those road trips, or if you're a frequent traveler on the road, do you have a little like medicine box that you can take so that you do your supplements in the middle of the day? Or are you going to pack that and take it, right, when you have those 2-3 day weekends? So just think about those things. I know this was so much fun, guys. This is everyone's favorite. But I thought what is it? This, not a smoothie, the slushy would help. All right. All right, everyone, ready? Online, if you can put a T or an F, I'm going to start with our first question on the pop quiz. So number 1, true or false? Preparation only means meal prepping on Sundays. False. Yeah. All right, true or false? Grocery shopping is the key part of staying consistent. And like Katrina said, picking off the list, right? Going to the store, but buying the things off the list. I like that. Very good. True. Yes. We have to have the food in our house so that we can prep it. 3. Oh, guys, sorry, online. I can't see you when I'm talking. Let me see real quick. Got to make sure you guys are paying attention. Oh, yay. Good job, guys. Elaine, thank you. Francis, thank you. Teresa, thank you. Nice job, guys. Oh, Waylon said, don't forget the pie. Shame. No. Erica said, now I really want pie. I think I'm going to tell John to give you guys burpees. He likes that. All right, we're going to go to our next couple questions here before we wrap up. Let's see. All right, number 3, you should continue eyeballing your food for your whole program. Yes, thank you, false. Yeah, we got to graduate from that and go into being more exact. True or false? Being prepared means you'll never make a mistake. False, right, exactly. Right. True or false? Reading food labels is a form of preparation. Right, true. Knowing what you're eating is going to be super important. Oh, you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but I'm going to pass around a couple of yogurts, and I really want you guys to see. I brought them so you can see the huge difference in these tiny little containers. So remind me to pass them around. Let's see. True or false? If you deviate from the plan, it often means your preparedness was weak. True. If you deviate from the plan, it often means your preparedness was weak. True, right? You forgot or didn't pack lunch, so now you're eating Pizza Hut. Just kidding. I went in. Let me see real quick. Look at online people in the call. Called out. Oh, stuff happens. Nope. No, it doesn't. Okay. All right, we're moving on through here. Next question. Supplements don't matter while traveling. False. Those are one of the spaces that's most important with consistency. They do take a while to get in and to build up, and the consistency in supplements is so huge. So the more that you can stay on it, the results that you get really truly in 90 days is going to be ideal. And that even goes with things like fish oil. I mean, vitamin B12 supplements, like those over-the-counter things, those are all, you would need to be consistent for lots of time so that you feel the benefits. Okay. All right. Let's see, true or false, planning when you're grocery shopping is just as important as the prep itself. True, yeah. You guys are so good. And then true or false, you should only track your food if you're trying to lose weight. False. And then lastly, preparation makes consistency easier and less stressful.